Hey everybody, welcome back to Game Junction. I'm here with my co-host Brandon. You what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Back for another news video.
Yeah, we got another video. This is coming from Games Radar that I saw about some news about the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's reported the last significant Switch release for some time. Gonna delve into the article and talk about what we think that means moving forward.
Yeah, I think that this makes a lot of sense to me. This has been the case multiple times now. We've had the Twilight Princess release got a GameCube and Wii release, and it was an end of life GameCube game, one of the last first party titles, and then obviously Breath of the Wild, which is direct sequel. We got that on Wii U and Switch, and it was really designed at first around the Wii U, so it's the preferred version to play, but we know it works. It works fine. It was built kind of for the touchpad with the quick response to like your bag and all that kind of stuff. So I think that this makes sense, and I think that we could also get a double release again.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't expect a double release for Tears of the Kingdom, but moving forward, and the first thing I thought was, well, I guess it kind of makes sense with the life cycle of the Switch. So it's probably the last big game. They're gonna have probably some minor second tier games, Nintendo games coming out, but maybe this is just a gap because it's just kind of how the development cycle of some games kind of went with COVID. You're still seeing some of that long term uh, hangover from
Yeah,
development pauses, or they're getting ready to transition over in the next year to their next console. So they're moving a
right.
lot of development from the first party titles to probably going to be a dual release, but they're prepping them for the next console. But
Yeah,
I mean, if this is just speculation, this is just I saw this headline. I'm like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I mean, I guess just who knows? Only time will tell.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I it makes sense to me. I mean, we're so close to a next generation. I personally don't think we're getting a Switch Pro. It just doesn't make sense with the amount of time we've had with the Switch.
Just
And
a full on Switch sequel at this point.
yeah, we're so far behind with technology at this point as far as the Switch. It's not even in comparison. It's lower than a PS4 and Xbox One as far as
Yeah.
specs. So
I assume that if they're planning on releasing something next year, we would sometime this year, maybe around E3 ish. Who knows? We might hear some announcements. But once you hear the announcement of Nintendo's like moving on with their next console, then you have all the speculation that comes along with, well, what is this going to be until we get like an official reveal for it.
right, yeah, it's so hard to say. It's all speculation on everything. So
We can
like,
speculate all day. I don't mind.
yeah, I mean, I think I feel like a dual release, but I think with the COVID stuff, I feel like there could be like a maybe a gap. Like we're not getting them both released together.
Yeah.
Like I could see it just being Switch release, but it seems like a missed opportunity almost. Like
But I feel like
we're
if we were going to get another sequel to a console, we would have heard it by now. And then they're
I
just going
don't
to
know.
surprise it on you. Hey, here's this next release. We just had the OLED come out like last year, but we're gonna release a new console within 2 years.
Well, I
It just
mean,
seems too
to be
close.
fair, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X both came out 2 years before
But it's not been a
the
full. It's
Series
been
X and the PS.
you're pushing like a year and a half, I guess. I might expect the announcement, maybe not the actual console, to come out anytime.
Oh yeah, I don't mean a like actual release for the console, but an announcement saying, "Hey, you're getting two versions of the game like we've done multiple times." Like it's still hard to say. There's been more rumors for Nintendo Switch stuff than I can ever remember. Like it's insane.
That's a whole topic in of itself with the history of Nintendo leaks and what is and isn't real.
It really is. And what's weird is that we have not yet gotten a code name for a next Nintendo console. We always had code names. We had Dolphin, Nintendo Revolution for the Wii,
Yeah.
NX for the Switch. Like we were always getting those weird code names beforehand. A
I
little
guess
bit
I assume
disappointing.
once we hear something more, then you kind of be like, all right, we're expecting some kind of announcement pretty soon. Unless
Yeah,
Nintendo's
yeah.
just somehow kept everything super hush hush, they don't want anybody to know about it yet, which is
I
possible.
I could totally buy that. It's funny with the Switch Pro stuff. We've heard about the Switch Pro before the Switch even came out. I can remember even and shout out to RGT85. He covered about the Switch Pro before the Switch even dropped. So it's
But I mean, that
a
makes sense.
constant thing.
with what Microsoft and Sony did, it makes sense that speculation was just there. But then you get the OLED, and then that kind of died down because you get the OLED. It really wasn't much of an upgrade other than some of the screen
No.
stuff. So
Yeah, you got to be a portable player to make that worthwhile, unless you care enough, like about the Ethernet jack with the
you're like a
dock.
diehard.
I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but I wouldn't upgrade for just that.
No.
It's
But it makes sense why they might be hesitant to until they're within a year of announcing, or maybe 6 months of releasing, because they don't want to. Because the moment you know Nintendo's about to release a new console, the Switch sales are probably going to plummet. Because, well, why buy this now? And if I just wait a little bit longer, the next console is going to come out. So let's milk the Switch for as long as we possibly can. Try to dwindle down whatever reserves we have, and then move into the next console.
yeah. I do think that on that front, I could see Nintendo announcing like the Switch successor in January with their direct. And the reason I say that is because it would make perfect sense. We got the PS5 announcement like maybe 6 months before.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at, getting Tears of the Kingdom, what is it, slated or estimated for the end of the
No,
May.
it's May. Yeah.
That's kind of mid year. I could sort of see it.
I mean,
It's
I
hard to
guess
say, man. Nintendo is Nintendo, so
they're gonna do what they're
God,
gonna
I
do.
have no idea.
We could assume within the next year we're gonna hear an announcement. When the next 2 years we would assume that they're gonna come out with their next console. It just fits the timeline at that point.
Yeah.
When the Switch came out, like 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
I mean,
Yep.
it's been. I mean, you're pushing like 6 years now. My math is probably wrong, but
Yeah, around there.
no,
It's
I guess
time.
we're 5. No, yeah, we would be pushing 6 years of 2023. So
And
I would.
usually see like a refresh, like a mid upgrade 3 to 4 years later. Like we're already
But that's kind of what the
being
OLED
rumored
was.
next year. Yeah, we're already being rumored next year for the PS5 like cycle upgrade, which is wild that we're actually going on 3 years.
Because people struggled for like the first 2 years to even get it.
Yeah, yeah. Just made a post in the lounge that I saw my second one ever in the wild yesterday, and it was in here in the middle of nowhere, Circleville, Ohio. So it's kind of cool
It's hard
to
to think
see
I've
it
had it
again.
for
But
that long. Like, oh man, it just feels like I
yeah,
just got it, but I'm like, I didn't realize I've had it for like 3 years now. Like shit.
exactly how I feel about both of the new consoles. I'm like, I feel like I just got it. It
Yeah.
feels too soon. At the same time, this dives into a whole other subject we could cover, but I feel like at the same time it makes sense. Some of those parts are more accessible now. They can use other things that there's other chips and stuff they can use to have the same performing console that are cheaper or more accessible. And with the size of these consoles, I mean, Series X is fine in my opinion, but the PS5 is gigantic, and a slim would make sense. Not a PS5 Pro. I would say I don't think that's coming. A PS5 Slim easily could come next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
It's
could see
very
something like
common.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get in.
And warranted.
Yeah.
Apologies.
You're fine. Let's go ahead and get into this article. So this comes
Oh,
to us from Games Radar. Kind of went over the title already. Legends of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is reported the last significant Switch release in the works for some time. So we come down. Should be the Switch's final significant release. What the rumor is. That's according to two reporters talking to Twitter in recent weeks. Firstly, GameIndustry.buzz reporter Chris Deering responded to a Twitter user back in November in the tweet below, revealing that according to his sources, the Legends of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom could be followed by a huge gap for Nintendo first-party releases. So it was Patrick saying back November 17th, wait, what? You mean all next-gen games are in development for the next hardware? And the response, no, I didn't mean literally nothing. I've heard that after Zelda, Nintendo doesn't have a significant game for quite some time. And then, but that in and of itself is not a whole lot of news, because that's just hearsay. Like, I've just heard that.
right.
The article,
Yeah, I mean,
know what you're saying?
analysts, it's hard to say. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the time, a majority of them are right, but they've also been wrong. So.
Yeah, it's it's just a game. Hedging your bets, pretty much.
Yeah.
The article goes on. More recently, VGC's Andy Robinson tweeted that Tears of the Kingdom could be, well, the final major launch on the Switch. According to the reporters' predictions, the rumors of new hardware, both reporters allege that Tears of the Kingdom might be followed by a significant significant gap for Switch exclusive games, if there even is another major exclusive release for after the new Zelda title at all. So this comes from Andy Robinson. From what I'm hearing, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo starts talking about the new hardware by 2024. I'm not convinced another huge first-party game other than Zelda is left on the Switch. Usually Nintendo prediction caveats apply. But I mean, if you don't hear anything by 2024, that seems like a very big gap. Like
That's a huge
that'd
gap.
be over a year with no major game, but I don't see them waiting that long.
No, that's some Wii U stuff all over again, and I can't see them doing that. There's no way on that end.
Unless they're just that confident that the Switch can continue to sell, or they just feel like they'll just let the Switch kind of taper off on its own.
I don't know. I don't see Nintendo doing that again. I feel like I said earlier, I think we're right on the cusp of the new system. I think like Metroid Prime 4 is a new system exclusive,
At this
potentially a
point,
big launch title.
it would make sense at this point. It's essentially, and it unfortunately skipped the Switch. It probably will be on the Switch, but it won't be an exclusive. It'll probably be a dual launch at this point.
It could be that, and if it's not, I wouldn't be upset because I want my Metroid Prime 4 to be another big jump for the Metroid series. Like, it needs it. It deserves it.
The Prime
and
series
I feel like
is its own.
I feel like the
hole.
Switch could hold it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that sort of regard. So I think I personally would be happy if it was a new console exclusive.
Yeah. But his tweet was in response or a caveat onto this on Nightflyer TV. The rumor in Digital Foundry's latest podcast, they mentioned that the Switch Pro is in the works until Nintendo has canceled the entire project, and that could be to avoid taking the risk of releasing another console failure since they had previously did with the GameCube and the Wii U. I mean, I guess you could probably call the GameCube a failure, but I wouldn't put it on the same level as the Wii U. I think it used the wrong disc type propriety with DVDs. It just was a minor misstep. It was a good console. It had good games.
It did fail, but it wasn't on the Wii U level. It
No.
significantly failed in comparison, and it's,
But if they hadn't used the propriety, if they didn't use those propriety like super small discs, I feel like it would have done a lot better because it had arguably just as much, if not more, hardware power than what it was competing against.
It was a prime console. If you're going to get a game that was cross-platform,
but at that point,
was generally the way to go. But
if you can't play DVDs, which was the hook of every other console,
that was the hook. Yeah.
It's kind of like the nail in the coffin, and then they went back to the drawing board. So it's kind of like you get this feeling like they've gone to a pattern of we're gonna do really well, then we're gonna kind of fall off a little bit. Do really well, kind of fall off a little bit. Is what it feels like with their last few console cycles.
Yeah, it's the Xbox out of the box. You couldn't watch DVDs on that, but you technically could. But you had to buy an adapter that you put in the controller port that allowed you to access the DVD menu to be able to play.
Yeah,
the DVDs.
But it still had the appeal.
It still had the capability.
The GameCube didn't even have that. But I mean, in the end of the day, they're all killed by the PlayStation 2 anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt.
All right, we'll go on with the rest of the article. Currently, as things stand, Tears of the Kingdom is slated to release before several other Nintendo-exclusive games, all of which are set to launch at some unknown point in the future. These would be Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Pikmin 4, and the long-delayed Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, which kind of makes sense. We've had, at least we know about the Advanced Wars 1 and 2 and the Pikmin 4. Metroid Prime is up in the air. We have no idea what's going on with that.
I do wonder, Advanced Wars is ready to go. Like, it got obviously delayed for political reasons, so I don't know.
I mean, we know it's coming out sometime this year. I don't know if they released, by the time we're recording this, an actual window or not, but we know it's coming sometime in 2023 at the very least. But all right, Deering and Robinson are clearly viewing all three titles as far less significant releases than Tears of the Kingdom, which makes sense. Zelda is it's a console seller.
Yeah, it just hurts me to hear that Metroid Prime is not an important series. Cause
I wouldn't say it's just not as important because it just doesn't sell as much.
It's less of a seller.
Yeah. Or other Switch heavy hitters like Mario Kart 8, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and it's hard to argue with that viewpoint, given the latter two games have sold in excess of 30 million units worldwide. Another major Nintendo franchise, Pokemon, saw two big games launch in 2022, implying a lengthy gap before another outing. I guess with that, it makes sense because as far as like main Pokemon games, the gap kind of made sense. It just felt like they were trying something new with
Arceus.
Arceus, however you want to pronounce it.
It's not a main game,
It
no
was like a
matter what anybody
spin-off, but they were
says.
trying something new that feels like they wanted
Yeah.
to release before they went with the next main line, because it's like, let's get you used to an open world Pokemon game, and then we'll kind of move to the next one.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pokemon Company did come out and say they want a Pokemon game out every year, and you know, it makes sense. Pokemon's the #1 selling franchise, so you get one game a year is not like out of the realm of
No, you could
possibility.
have
There's
like
spin-offs and a ton of other things you can
they've got
do.
plenty of spin-offs, because you have your main lines that come out every
Tons.
2-3
Mystery
years.
Dungeon,
You got the
Ranger,
mystery
all these
dungeon, yeah,
cool
the
ones.
mystery dungeon, the ranger. You can start doing the art, like an
Snap,
Arceus type snap stuff. Like they've got other
the
stuff
Let's Go.
that they could kind of
Yeah,
fill in the gaps, which kind of makes sense.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I feel it is definitely going to be one of the last major titles. I mean, outside of Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario, does anybody really consider it a major title as far as selling? Like, Metroid just doesn't sell anywhere near the numbers of
And
Zelda,
it's just not as big as those other franchises. But
right.
yeah, we're going to finish the rest of it. Robinson, however, believes Nintendo could begin. I can't speak. Sorry, to look past the Switch as soon as next year in 2024. Hence the reason for a gap in major Switch launches after Tears of the Kingdom on May 12th. Considering the recent speculation over the canceled Nintendo Switch Pro, could Nintendo be going a different route with new hardware? Kind of leaves off on something like that. I just can't imagine Nintendo hard killing out the Switch, because they've killed out their 3DS line. I assume something's going to be some kind of hybrid. But
Yeah.
I guess my hope is something where you still have like the Switch handheld, but maybe a dock that's got more power, more juice when it's in docked mode or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to tell what they're going to do.
I think they're going to stick hybrid and essentially do what you said.
Yeah, because
I
it
mean, I
killed
think
off.
we'll keep the light line of stuff. I think that'll stick. It makes sense. It's a cheaper model. It's portable only. Like, I get it. I get the selling point. It's pretty cheap. One of the cheapest consoles ever released. Like, it's cheaper than the 3DS was at launch at $200. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I guess only time will tell. If you all have any opinions on that, agree, disagree, let us know down below. Give us a like, comment, subscribe if you like it. I'm Mark. This is Brandon.
Peace.
See y'all next time. Peace.